everybody, and glad to have you with us. My name is Shamini Jain from the Consciousness and Healing Initiative, and I am thrilled to be sitting with Dr. Paul Mills, who is, among many things, just an incredible soul, and also professor at UC San Diego. He was actually my former mentor, taught me everything I know about psychoneuroimmunology, and really just an incredible researcher and human being. So Paul, thank you so much for sitting with me today. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, Shamini. Pleasure to have the opportunity to chat with you today.
Thank you, Paul. So Paul, you've done so much incredible work in so many areas of integrative medicine, spanning from gratitude to glyphosate, and we're going to touch on some of your work today. I thought it would be really nice to explore what we know about gratitude. I know that you've been involved in several studies looking at gratitude in different kinds of patient populations, and love for us to learn a little bit more from you about, does gratitude really improve our health, and how does that work?
Yes. Thank you. This is a fascinating area, one I'm very passionate about, and an area we've spent quite a bit of time and resources over the last couple of years studying. As you know, historically, a lot of my research at UC San Diego has been on cardiovascular diseases. Early studies, we focused on hypertension, and as we studied more the advancing pathophysiology, we looked a lot at heart failure. And heart failure is, in many ways, an end-stage cardiac disease, and it simply means when the heart can't adequately circulate enough blood through the body. Heart failure comes about from either having a heart attack or many, many years of high blood pressure, and the heart starts to adjust to those circumstances. And in the adjustment, or what it's called remodeling, the heart works less efficiently.
How many people do you think suffer from heart failure?
Well, many, many, many millions in the United States, and it's a huge impact, obviously, on quality of life, as well as just morbidity. People with heart failure, particularly as the disease advances through, there's different stages, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 4 is advanced heart failure. And once you get to stage 4, generally mortality is within 5 years.
Wow. Okay.
And there's no treatment for heart failure, although perhaps gratitude is a treatment. We'll describe that.
Okay.
But generally, there's just drugs to help manage the symptoms, really.
So you have this problem, and then it just sort of progresses onward until death, basically.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So in our work with heart failure over the years, we had a lab meeting a few years ago, and this notion of gratitude came up just in general conversation, and somebody in the lab said, I wonder if it's true that gratitude or having a grateful heart is really associated with a healthier heart. That was the origin of all of our research. And so we said, well, we can test this. We already have all these heart patients coming through our research stream. So we did 2 studies at this point. And the first one was very easy to do. We simply started administering a gratitude questionnaire to all the patients coming through the lab and the clinic for our research.
So you just gave them a questionnaire, like a validated questionnaire, and simply asked them how grateful they were feeling?
Yes, this questionnaire assesses trait gratitude, generally like a dispositional gratitude.
Generally how grateful they are more often than not.
More often than
throughout their life.
Throughout their life,
Okay.
So the first study, we gave this questionnaire to several hundred patients coming through the system, and what we found is those that had more dispositional gratitude, they slept better. They had less fatigue, and fatigue is a big symptom in heart failure. They had less depression. Depression is also a very significant feature because depression generally increases over time, and the more depression the patient has, mortality is greater. What was very exciting is we also had more hard biologic data. We drew blood samples on these patients, and we found that those who had more gratitude had less inflammation.
Really?
Approximately 25% less. And these were
25% less inflammation.
As assessed by circulating biomarkers, including biomarkers very relevant to the heart itself and the remodeling process of the heart.
And this data is, of course, published. So we'll be sharing with you guys the link to the paper so that you can read the science paper. So if I understood what you just said, you basically looked at patients with heart failure, current heart failure, and you looked to see whether or not feeling grateful more often than not was associated with health outcomes, and you found decreased depression, decreased fatigue, and decreased inflammation.
Yes.
Meaning that, would you say then that they were less likely to succumb to issues with the disease then?
To the degree that depression, to the degree that inflammation are prognostic of future outcomes, then the answer would be yes to that.
Wow.
Yeah. So this was very exciting to us. And but as you know, as a scientist, there was, say, a caveat to those findings. And what's that caveat? The caveat is that these were correlational data. So we couldn't cite for sure causation.
Yeah.
Yes, perhaps the higher gratitude means lower inflammation. Or maybe it's just that people have less inflammation, have more gratitude.
Right. It could be either way.
We didn't know.
Right.
We couldn't say. So what we did next is we launched a randomized trial. We took the same type of patients, another group completely. We randomized some of them to do gratitude journaling for 2 months, which is a standard gratitude intervention in the field.
So gratitude journaling means what exactly?
That means we gave them pretty little bound journals, and we said, for the next 2 months, we would like you to write down most days of the week 2 or 3 things that you were grateful for that day or those several days.
2 or 3 things. So that's all they had to do?
That's all they had to do.
Wow. Okay. For how many months?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
So what did we find? That is the question, and it's very exciting. Essentially, we were able to replicate what we found cross-sectionally, which means those patients who were randomized to the journaling versus just their usual care, their mood got better, their sleep got better, their inflammation went down.
Wow, so basically kind of similar findings to what you found in the cross-sectional data, in the correlational data.
It validated it.
Yeah, only this time you actually gave them an intervention to help make them feel more grateful, and I'm assuming you checked to make sure they actually were feeling more grateful, right, when they did the intervention.
We did.
And so you were increasing their gratitude, and by increasing their gratitude, you saw decreases in inflammation, decreases in depression, and improvements in sleep. Is that right?
Yes, we looked at sleep and fatigue.
And fatigue. Decreases in fatigue as well.
Yeah.
That's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So that is then we can cite the more the causation. Right? And another piece of this project we're still in the midst of is that we gathered back all the journals from the patients.
Oh.
We're doing qualitative assessments.
Great.
We had some students transcribe all the content, which was a lot.
Yeah.
And the content has gone into a special software program. And we're going to ask several questions of that data. One is, does it matter what you journal about? Does it matter if you journal about the weather or your friends or you're grateful for your cardiologist, whatever that is? Does that make a difference on the degree to the benefit you have? Personally, I doubt it. I think it's just a phenomenon of gratitude. And activating that in your own self is where the benefits come from. But we're going to look at this and see.
That's wonderful, and thank you so much for incorporating qualitative data into your study.
I know
we all know
that.
we all know we need to do that. We really need to look at the nuances of what people are saying and doing, and not just looking at blood markers. So I really appreciate that, that whole systems type of approach. So you're a psychoneuroimmunologist. You've been, in the P&I, psychoneuroimmunology field for many, many years. How do you think this works? Like, why is it that feeling more gratitude is improving our health in these ways? What's happening?
2 responses. One, more along the lines of, say, traditional biomedicines, P&I, and then maybe another one is a little bit more esoteric.
Love to hear both.
So as far as the more traditional explanation, and I provide this based on my own experience and chatting with people about this. So when we bring gratitude into our own space, one of the first things I find, as do at least some others, is that there's more a sense of connectedness, not only with yourself, but the people around you and certainly the environment at large. So it provides connectedness. What is that the opposite of? It's the opposite of depression and isolation. Many people are depressed and that your world contracts. And when we feel separate from, that creates anxiety. That activates our nervous system because we're in a state of anxiety and kind of sympathetic orientation. I think that the gratitude by providing connectedness helps our psychobiology moved more towards the centeredness. Our psyche, we feel in that connectedness, the body responds appropriately.
So almost perhaps a feeling of safety, and so a potential decrease of the sympathetic nervous system activation associated with a sense of safety due to connection, something like that. That would be sort of a mainstream kind of explanation, perhaps, right?
That's my mainstream explanation.
That's the mainstream. So now let's get into the esoteric explanations. I would love to hear about this. What do you feel is going on the the spiritual, energetic levels with gratitude? And
I think gratitude is gratitude is one of many components of what we call spirituality. We have compassion, we have empathy, we have gratitude. Let's say if compassion is expressing our love to another, I would say gratitude is experiencing and expressing love for just our existence, for everything simultaneously. And whenever we bring more love and experience more love in our being, in our psyche, our soul, of course our body's along for that phenomenon too. And that experience, it brings us back more to our identity, our source, and that, when we were speaking about well-being earlier, that supports our natural well-being. It brings us back to our state, natural state, versus the sense of isolation that many people have. Many people walk around that they are this mind-body, and they're experiencing everything out there that is other than.
Right. I'm here and everything else is out there. Right. Yeah.
Gratitude helps support those parts of our being where we're more in our natural state of unity.
In unity.
With things.
That is such a key statement, I feel. Gratitude, as you said, opens us up. It connects us, not just in here, but in here.
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Our whole being becomes more enlivened. Yeah. That's how I see the esoteric side of gratitude. We haven't tested any of this in the lab. We really don't have the ability to do that per se.
Although, didn't you look a little bit at biowell correlates of gratitude? That's a good point.
Yes,
you did, right? I mean, this is super exploratory, but
it was
for those of you those of you who are somewhat familiar with Konstantin Karakov's gaseous discharge visualization will know what the biowell is. And anyway, I don't know if we have time to get into all of it, but there is some exploration happening, right, on the
yes. Thanks for reminding me.
Bioenergetic level.
In brief. Yes, we did use the biowell. We evaluated people's cardiovascular system from more of a chi, an energetic flow point of view that the biowell provides. And we did an assessment of people while they were sitting resting, and then we had them do a 10-minute gratitude journaling exercise. Wow. And then we remeasured them. And then we remeasured some people just sitting for 10 minutes. And essentially, all the cardiovascular indices and heart-related indices improved in their disposition and energy following the journaling.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's there's one other piece I want to mention about the first study, the cross-sectional study, since we're on this topic of gratitude, and I mentioned spirituality. In the large study with almost 200 patients, in addition to the gratitude questionnaire, we gave a spirituality questionnaire, again, another validated one. And if you look at spirituality ratings and things like fatigue, sleep, depression, of course there's a correlation. And that's a large literature, as you know. But within the study, then we did a mediation analysis, which I suspect you remember what that is. And what we found is when we entered gratitude into the correlation, spirituality itself fell out of the equation. It was no longer related to the outcomes. And what that means to us is that it's the gratitude component of spirituality that carries the weight, the influence, the beneficial effect, but not the broader concept of spirituality.
Wow, that's really fascinating and so important. I just want to reflect on that for a minute. So when you looked at the influence of spirituality on these health outcomes, what you actually found through your mediation analysis was that it was gratitude in particular that was really driving the effect, not just broad brushstrokes of spirituality. That's so important because, you know, we're all trying to explore what are these aspects of spirituality that drive health, really.
Yes.
And it speaks to, you know, how, you know, gratitude is universal. It's not linked to any kind of religious or spiritual practice. It's simply the process of feeling grateful. And so thank you for your, you know, amazing work. I know you did this work in concert with Laura Redwine, who was here at UCSD and now is in Florida. Laura, thank you as well for this amazing work that you've done with Paul. Paul, maybe we could close. I would love for you to share with everyone here in our community, what do you engage in to help increase your gratitude? What can people do to increase their gratitude and, of course, increase their health at the same time?
So I mentioned journaling, which is what we used in the study. And personally, I have a gratitude journal. It sits by my bedside, and I pick it up generally each evening. And I'll just reflect on my day, and I'll write, could be one thing, could be several things. It could be a sentence and I'm tired, I'm going to bed. Or I might be really inspired depending on the day and how I feel, and I might write several pages.
Wow.
So that's my practice around gratitude. That's one. And honestly, truly, I would say it's an ongoing practice, much as meditation itself is an ongoing practice. So just throughout the course of my day, I am incredibly grateful for all aspects of my life, including you and the opportunity to sit here with you.
Oh, thank you, Paul. Thank you so much. I feel the same way. I'm so incredibly grateful to know you and to have had the opportunity to work with you in so many ways. And thank you. And I know our community thanks you for this wonderful discussion, and hope that you all enjoyed it and continue to be and feel grateful and live a beautiful life. Thank you.